Welcome to the Backwoods University. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make maple syrup. We're going to take it from the tapping stage, go through some equipment, all the way up to collecting the sap, boiling it, and then finishing off the maple syrup. Our professor today is our friend Dino. You all know Dino from the other videos. So if you ever wanted to know how to make maple syrup, this is the video for you.
Tapping some trees this morning. I've tapped these a lot already, so I'm trying to find the right trees. This is a really nice tree. I had a lot of good sap in the past. There's a couple trees off to the side which are also maples, but they're much too small. So when I tap the tree, what I'm doing is I'm trying to find the side that's the sun's going to be beating on to help warm it up a bit. And because I do that a lot, I've got to try to find where the old tap holes were and make sure that I'm not tapping right next to it, right above or below. So as I look back here, I think this probably is a nice spot right here. When I put the drill on, I want to make sure it's at an angle. That way the sap will actually drip out. If I have it up here, it will accumulate and then it will pour out. So a little bit of an angle. And I want to probably go in about a ½ inch or so. Make sure that all the wood chips fall out. You have to be real careful you don't put your finger or try to blow any of the wood chips out of there because there's bacteria which will cause problems later. Next, I'm going to put the spout in there, or tap or spile. I've got a few different types here for different purposes. Right now, this morning, I'm going to be using these. These fit on my buckets nicely. Grab one of those and grab my hammer. Usually I use a wooden mallet, but unfortunately I don't have that anymore. So the trick with this, especially being today's single-digit temperatures, Fahrenheit, you want to use your ears and listen until you get a little bit of a high-pitched noise. That means that the tap is snug in there. But you don't want to hit it too hard because then is what happens again, especially on these cold days, is that you'll have cracks that form. And then when the tree starts to run the sap, you're going to have it dripping out of the cracks instead of coming out of the spile. And then next we have our sap bucket. These are nice metal ones, and basically they'll fit right on there. We have a lid that keeps all the rain and snow and, well, bugs still get in, but for the most part keeps it pretty clear. And that's it. So we'll come back tomorrow. It's supposed to be really warm tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to get some sap. So the trees have been tapped for a couple weeks, and we've been collecting sap. Typically the sap flows when the temperatures are above freezing, ideally like around 45. Then they drop down below freezing during the night. So we've had some really cold temperatures. Yesterday we had a really warm day, so we collected a lot of sap. So I'm going along now to collect sap from a bunch of the trees again. So basically, if the tree is dripping 1 drip a second, that's the equivalent of about a gallon a day. So when the trees were dripping yesterday, they were probably going a bit faster. So I was getting a couple gallons from each of the trees. So I'll go around to each of the trees. I'll bring a 5-gallon bucket along so I can carry it easier. And carefully unhook the bucket from the tap. And fill it up. So I tested this sap, and this is about 2%. And the trick is to be really careful putting those back on the tree so you don't bump the tap. If you bump the tap, there's going to be a gap, and then we're going to lose all our precious sap. All right. So we collected a bunch of sap. I like to put it in these 55-gallon drums. Basically, I consider the sap, I treat it like milk. It's got to stay cold. So I like to keep it in the drums. I keep ice here when I can. And when I keep it cold, ideally it will keep about a week or so. So I'll dump it through my filter or through my funnel. I want to filter out all the bugs and moths and bark. And that's actually the stuff probably that gives a little bit of flavor. So this goes in the drum. And I'll typically get about 250 gallons before I want to invest my time into doing the boiling. So this is called a portable refractometer. So I can go to the buckets that are hanging on the tree, put a couple drops of sap on there, and look through here, and I can tell the amount of bricks or percentage of sugar that's in here. So when I go to my trees, I know they're all about 2 to 3%. It's been super cold lately, so you can see down here there's some blocks of ice. So the water freezes before all of the sugar. So now really when I'm pouring the bucket out and I've got ice in there, it's already being concentrated. So I use my portable refractometer. I can monitor this when I go through the RO system. I can monitor the efficiency of this by knowing what the concentrate is here. And I can also check out the permeate, the clean water, to make sure that's zero. If that's not zero, that's a little bit above zero, I know I need to do some tweaking in my system.
Hey Dino, I got a question. When you mentioned RO, what are you referring to?
Well, RO stands for reverse osmosis. So one of the things that I do to help speed things up a little bit is I can run my sap through reverse osmosis. Basically, that's taking 2% sap that comes from the tree, and I'm filtering out half clean water, which we call permeate, and I've concentrated the other half into now from 2 to 4%. So there's 2% in the drum. I run it through my reverse osmosis. If I pump out 10 gallons, I get 5 gallons of concentrate, which is now 4%, and I get 5 gallons of what we call permeate, which is real pure water.
Now, another question. If somebody was just starting out, would they need a reverse osmosis system, or is this just something you do to speed the process along?
Right. So when I first started, I basically had milk jugs hanging in here, and I wanted to figure it all out from the beginning. Now I'm to the point where I know the amount of trees I can tap. I don't like looking at the plastic hanging in the tree, so I like to use the metal buckets. But this just helps me speed the process up. When I'm out here, literally, I can boil, like I said, 10 gallons in an hour. If I have 250 gallons of sap, that's 24 hours I'm out here nonstop boiling. So if I can run it through the RO system, that cuts my time in half, so I'm only out here 12 hours. But the reality is, I'm out here for 24 because now I can be more efficient and collect more. Regarding the amount of sap I need to make a gallon of syrup, basically we follow the rule of 86. So I mentioned before that my trees are all about 2% right now sugar. So take 86, divide it by 2, and you get 43. So basically I would need 43 gallons of sap at 2% in order to get 1 gallon of maple syrup. When I run it through my reverse osmosis system, I bring the 2% to 4, which means 86 divided by 4 is 21.5 gallons. So I would need 21.5 gallons of my concentrate to boil down to get 1 gallon of maple syrup. So typically I've got to keep everything very organized and in a system so I don't forget what's going on. So after I dump in about 5 gallons of my warmed sap, I like to then load up the fire. And it's extremely important that I chop up this wood so it's basically arm width in terms of size. I want it to burn really fast. This is all ash that I burn. We had a bunch of trees that died, so we split up maybe 60 cords of wood. So I split them up really small. I can load up my fire pit, and because they're small, they burn really quick. The other thing that I want to do is I want to try to capture all those BTUs. I don't want them to escape. So I have some insulation. This is what I've been doing the last couple years, and it's worked really good. I can put insulation and snug it up around all of my pans, and that keeps the heat in. And I have a chimney flue here, you can see, and a damper, so I can adjust the airflow. And then lastly, in the front, I can close all of this off. So it works out really good. Like I said, I can burn off about 10 gallons. I can evaporate 10 gallons of water in 1 hour when I have this humming at the perfect level. So this is concentrate. This is about 7% sugar in here, which I concentrated down from about 2% with my RO bucket. Just filled up. This holds 5 gallons. And you can see maybe that the color isn't really clear. That means that there's some sugar in there, which is good. Keep everything nice and clean. Okay. So I have a my main pan, which holds about 40 gallons. I don't fill it all the way up to the top. And then I have my 5-gallon warming pans. So basically about every half an hour I can evaporate 5 gallons of water. So in an hour I can get 10 gallons of water evaporated. I fill this back up. I can keep track by using my my little measuring device, which is important, so I know every inch is 5 gallons. So I can track where I'm at throughout the boil, because it's really important to know how much I'm adding and what the final product is. So we got that added. I'm going to put some more of my concentrate in here and put it back up here to warm up. So I transferred the near up into my finishing pan, and I can do a lot more exact finishing up here than I can back out in the woods. So I've got about 5 gallons of near up in here. I've had it boiling for, I don't know, maybe about an hour or so. And the goal is to try to remove all the excess water to get it to syrup. If I take too much water out, then we get candy. If I don't take enough water out, then it's very runny and it could actually start to mold and go bad. You know when it's ready? Well, you can do one of two things. One is you can monitor the temperature. Where I'm at right here, if I can bring this up to about 219 degrees, I want to take it off and start the bottle. A little more scientific, precise way to do it is to use what's called a hydrometer. Basically, I keep testing it. I fill it with the liquid. I carefully lower this in, and I want to try to get it to where it says 59.1 bricks. When I get it to 59.1 bricks, we've got syrup. So we've got the near up into syrup. So now this next step is to filter this out. The filtering helps the taste, the clarity, and the color. Also, when we boil the sap out in the woods, there's a lot of natural minerals that get concentrated. They call that niter or sugar sand. So by running that through the filters, we help eliminate that. So I use a series of 2 filters. This is a cloth filter, real heavy filter. And then I've got these paper filters. So basically I get this wet and warm. I already have it in here. And then I'll line it with maybe about 4 or 5 of these paper filters. And as I let this sap filter through, the outermost or the innermost filter will get clogged up. I'll stop it. I'll actually remove that and then continue the process to help speed things along.